Hi, this is Misha, and we have another Mossberg video for you. As anyone who's watched the channel a bit knows, they're kind of my preferred shotguns, at least for pumps. Semis, I'm a huge fan of the Benelli. I have my standard 590A1 here. 12 gauge, 2 3/4, 3 inch. This is the military version. This would be with the bead sight, so it's kind of what was shipped to the military in the 90s, early 2000s. Some later ones might have ghost ring. This one is the trench gun configuration. We got a 20 inch heavy wall, improved cylinder bore barrel. We have a 8+1 capacity tube. We have the military style end where you can have an open cap. I'm going to point this at you folks. This is actually what really defines the difference between a 500 and a 590 or 590A1. Having this style of tube where you can pull your barrel off easy, and also exposing the end of the tube. It has a little snap ring. If you need to take your spring out, it's much easier than on a 500. That was one of the changes the military. And that's really the difference between the 500 and the others. We have a NATO spec bayonet lug. Parkerized finish on some of this. We have kind of a approximate parkerizing on the receiver. I'm laughing because it's anodizing, but it's kind of since it's an alloy, it's anodized to match the actual parkerized barrel. We have a heat shield. This is a military heat shield, Milspec at least, for the 590A1 specifically. You can probably make a 590 heat shield fit, but it's a little skinny. This is just a little wider, so it clamps on very securely. Typical buttstock, metal safety and trigger. This has Mossberg's dual ejectors, which lead to great reliability. We have the elevator that comes down, skeletonized. They have their tang safety. Shell releases here. What I've always liked about Mossbergs is you can load them with the elevator up, not having to push it out of the way every time. Very good, dependable pump action shotgun. Personally, I've had better luck out of Mossbergs than Remington 870s in my life many times over. So why am I rambling about that gun? Well, probably most of you guessed, in this scabbard here, we have this gun. And this is nothing new. It's been out for a good year now. This is the Mossberg 590. So it doesn't have the A1 mark on the side. Firearm. 590 Shockwave Firearm. I have to take the safety off, doesn't it? Hey, safety works. Yeah, that helps a lot. Now, the big deal here is that we have a 14-inch barrel as opposed to 18 or 20. Now, if this were a shotgun, the minimum length has to be over 18 inches for the barrel and over 26 inches for the entire shotgun. For a rifle, these numbers are 16 inches and 26 respectively. Same. For a pistol, a rifle barrel pistol, we can have a barrel under 16 inches but no stock. And then there's another class called firearm or receiver, just straight up, a gun. which is really neither. It's you know, blank. You can do whatever you want. It's registered as a device, but not anything. Any of you who've built AR pistols or anything like that know what I'm talking about. You want to buy a virgin receiver so you can build it into a pistol under the law. That's what Mossberg figured out. Okay, shotguns can't have a barrel under 18 inches, but a receiver, which was never registered as a shotgun, as this one has never been here, this is registered as a firearm. It happens to have a smooth bore and fire 12 gauge. It can have a barrel under 18 as long as it does not have a butt stock. And this does not. However, the way the law is written, it still has to have an overall length over 26 inches. So that's the only mandate. We couldn't do a 10-inch barrel version with this traditional vertical pistol grip because of that. So we can have a 14-inch barrel, but we still have to be 26s overall. And that's where the Shockwave comes in. This is the smallest they can make this gun. It is based on the 590 Action. Same alloy receiver, same drilled and tapped. We have the same dual ejectors, same elevator, same tang mounted safety, same release down here. We have this 14-inch barrel, which is, by the way, a heavy wall. I'm sure they did that because of being so small. They wanted it to be compact. We have the 590A1 style end cap. If you unscrew this, you've got the exposed tube for easier cleaning. We have the sling swivel on the front, which you can actually mount one on the front of this too if you want. There's a hole, but I like using the rear one. Obviously, there's no bayonet lug because you wouldn't be able to do it. You can't even put a bayonet on the 18-inch. Rather than having an 8+1 capacity, this has a 5+1. It's quite respectable for its short size, 5 rounds for a 14-inch barrel. Not bad at all. There's even a little extra room left over, so you're not cramming that last one in. You've got an extra ½ inch. Now this will fire 3-inch Magnum if you're brave, as well as 2 3/4. If you go the Magnum route, I don't know if you can get 5 in the tube. You may be stuck with 4. That's probably the case. The 5th one at most would be a very tight fit. We also have the strap on the pump forearm, which is an awesome idea. Even if this jumps out of your hand, it's not going to go anywhere if you have it secure. It's held on with 4 large screws, not going anywhere. Heat shield would be kind of neat on this, wouldn't it, guys? I don't know if you could actually install one though. Not really much room. It's not very heavy, again, because we have an alloy receiver. Most of your weight is your barrel. In the back, we have this Raptor style grip. It's a little bit of a weird shape, but it kind of grows on you. It kind of gives the feel of a straight stock, this without the actual stock part, which, because of this tang safety, is probably a better idea, because if this were a vertical grip, it'd be hard to get that, but because of how this is made, it's still easy to reach. And this does come off. Plug in the back, screw. And you can buy various arm braces. Since this is a firearm, it is legal to put an arm brace on. Mesa and SB both make for the 590 series. So that's an option. Now I've customized this just a little bit because it's me. Obviously I've added my sling. I like, and especially on something like this, the sling's good. I've also added a metal trigger guard, metal safety, and I've added phosphated internals, including the elevator. So kind of a little bit more of a Milspec style there. Typical Mossberg trigger, of course. So yeah, we finally decided to mess around with the Shockwave. It's quite interesting. So why did I pick this over the Remington? Well, my past experiences aside, Remington does do a 14-inch barrel known as the TAC 14. It is based on the 870 Express or 870 Tactical. It does not have the pump forearm as such with the strap on it. It has a steel receiver, but only one extractor. It has a standard weight barrel. It doesn't really have a heavy wall, although honestly that doesn't matter. You can get it with either a grip like this in the back, or Remington does offer it with a Mesa brace from the factory, which is honestly a point in its favor. I hope Mossberg does too later. One thing I will say, the Remington holds 4+1, this holds 5+1, which really is not a big deal, but I figure if you're going to have a short barrel, it's also kind of neat to have the largest capacity possible. So having 20%, 25% more capacity is kind of nice. And as I said, I just honestly like the ergonomics more for the Mossberg 590 series. It's a personal thing, really. Especially working with this extended bone-shaped grip. I like the Tang safety. It's also good for lefties. I really like where the slide latch is on the Mossberg versus way up here on the Remington. And while it might be goofy to some, I really like the strap on the pump forearm. And yes, I'm sure you can get those for the Remington as well, but this one already comes with it. It just makes me feel good that I'm shooting such a short and relatively light gun using 12 gauge and have it kind of strapped to me. Also, for some reason I have a sling on it. It's an interesting classification for firearms. In Arkansas and many other states, these are perfectly legal. However, they are not legal in all states. So before you buy one, check out your local laws. I know, for example, a friend in Hawaii, they just heard back from their attorney general that they're not allowing these in Hawaii, which is honestly no surprise. I'm sure there are plenty of other states that won't allow them to. Even though this is just a pump gun, they still find it too threatening. So check your local laws. Good news is these are not priced very high. The Mossberg version is under $400 brand new, and the Remington version is under $450 with the Raptor grip new, or under $550 with an arm brace new. So it is something. That's honestly why I decided to pick one up. I thought, well, for the money, why not? I had an old Mossberg Cruiser with an 18-inch barrel and pistol grip, but this is a few inches shorter, a little more unique, a little more interesting. So I'm selling my Cruiser and hanging on to this. Actually, the Cruiser is probably worth a little more, so these are very priced very fairly. And I'm not going to say they're not really primarily a range toy, but there are different applications, especially if you do put an arm brace on such a thing. So there could definitely be some applications for a very compact gun at just over 2 foot long. Or you could just buy a Mossberg like this, which is 3 foot long and weighs several pounds more, but it's still really cool. It's one of my first shotguns I ever picked up and still really like it. Just a fun gun. My only complaint that I've had is the length of pull is very long on these. Well, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. And if you have not, check out our other Mossberg videos. We have a number of them. And if you like this one, please click the like button. And if you'd like to help support us get to the range and break our wrist a little more with things like this Shockwave, please click the link and check out our Patreon page. This is Misha, and we'll catch you next time.